Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and today I'm going to be playing with my new Gryphon. I've never had a Gryphon before. I was never particularly interested. I never much cared for the general look and feel of the thing. When they first came out, I hadn't gotten into half darts yet, and then by the time I got into half darts, I had other better options. But I recently ended up with one, kind of. So I didn't even occur to me to film the build part of this, but I originally acquired a red and gray Gryphon. So it was this one, but all the blue parts were red, and that I acquired in a arms deal with Xfox. I had no use or desire for the Gryphon myself, so I reached out to the crew and said, hey, are any of you looking for a good half-dart primary? And crewman Rocket said, yes, I would love one, so he was given the Gryphon. But eventually, he used it a couple of times, absolutely loved it, used it to great effect, but his primary color is blue, not red. And so he asked if I could replace the red parts with blue parts. And he had already previously bought a spool of blue filament for me to use to print other blue parts for him. So I said sure. So I reprinted all of the parts, and that was a bit of an adventure because I printed version 1 and his was version 1.3. And so while most of the parts were fairly compatible, I did have to do some tweaking to get it all to fit, and then I printed the wrong version of the stock. I printed the metric version instead of the imperial version, so I had to heat up this piece of PVC so that it would shrink into there. Worked great. But I got it working. Still works as good as it did, I hope. We'll find out when I give it back to him. I didn't change any of the internal components, and the actual flywheel cage was one of the original components, so I didn't fiddle with any of that, so it should be just as it was, and it does still appear to work. But I then had an entire set of the red parts, and I figured, well, you know what? Red is close enough to orange, it will paint up nicely, so I painted all of the red parts orange, and then printed what were the gray parts that I didn't reprint, printed all of them in black, and made myself one in my colors. And it came out beautifully! And I currently have the Feachi RS28 reticle on there because as I mentioned in my review of that, I was planning to actually put different optics on my ALS 160 that I tried it on. But right now, we're going to take this out and we're going to play with it and see how it works. I did some testing here in my shop, and the performance was, again, I'd never fired one of these, so I don't know what I should be expecting out of it. So we're going to take it to the range and see if I can hit anything at all. Here we go. Right, here on the range with my new Gryphon. Incidentally, for those of you that are wondering, it's got Krakens and Daybreak motors. It's a 38.5 crush cage, and it is super snappy and poppy. When it fires, it pops, and the trigger is nice and snappy. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm not expecting it to be, you know, an SBF or an FTL3 because it doesn't have any kind of SCAR or BCAR or anything like that. And I don't know if I'd ever want it to be. I'm really hoping I can hit the 25 reliably. I'm not expecting to be able to snipe bottles, but we'll see. Let's see what I can do with this thing. Can I get some ping? Yes! Yes, I can. Can I hit a bottle? Well, so much for my fears about it not being accurate enough. That will do. Oh. Well, we can't leave one standing. Reload! See if I can get it with a full fresh magazine. I got him! I got a dart stuck up in the neck. Pings! I get the 50. Yes! Oh, with the last shot! With the last shot, I got the 50. This will do. This is exactly what, this is the performance I was hoping. I was actually better than I was hoping to get out of this. This is fabulous. I believe it's coming in right around 150, which means I could use this at Fort Borst. I could definitely use it in competitive if I ever really wanted to, if I didn't want to run any of my really fancy blasters. I could run this and it would do nicely. So I am pleased. I am pleased with the Gryphon. I see why people like them. Super snappy. And with that crush in those wheels, pops when it fires, and the trigger is very, very snappy, very responsive, geared. I like it. So, a Gryphon, battery stock, loads of room, huge battery in there. I've got a 2200, I think, maybe it's a 2000. Put the the Feachi RS1 or 28, the 28 that I previously had on my ALL. I put that on there. That works beautifully. Very, very nice. So, yeah, there's my thoughts on a Gryphon. I'm glad I got one. Snappy little semi-auto half-dart blaster. Maybe get yourself one.